And what will ye do in the day of visitation? I'd like to start off by saying Barakatah Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Racha Kodash. Welcome to another live lesson. The name of this one is, and what will you do in the day of visitation? This is a direct quote taken from the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, verse 3. Because Esau, the nations, and the wicked of Israel are going to be visited by the Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai. I just got off the phone with Elder Apostle Tahar. He called me about this video. He said he's about to do a video on it right now as soon as we got off the phone. And it's on Patient Saints Radio 2.0. And it's episode 444, November 24th, 2024. And he had asked me a question, and he said, pretty much, you'll hear he'll explain it when he does the video and puts it up. But these guys at IUIC are waxing worse and worse, man. I mean, it's just like, my goodness. I'm gonna let y'all hear it. I don't have it queued up on my laptop, but I do have it queued up on the Elder D Mash's crib. So I'm going to play it. I'm going to let you hear it. Then I'm going to come back. And I may play it a couple of times so you could, actually hear it, But let me know if you can hear the sound. So here we go. And I'm going to try to bring it back a couple of times. You know how it is. They're still live, so it's kind of hard on a live, to kind of get, bring it back. But let's go.
Remember, when your wife is doing her menstrual, he went over, when you deal with her, not after the 7 days, you in the midst of fornication. That's fornication. That's something. Hey, that's something. Hey, I ain't see that. And the water stay rising. Water rising. Rise. Too much. Reality. Yeah. That's us. Somebody. Yeah, homosexuality. That's us. Yo. Remember, when your wife is doing her menstrual, he went over, when you deal with her, not after the 7 days, you in the midst of fornication. That's fornication. That's us. Yo, remember, when your wife is doing her menstrual, he went over, when you deal with her, not after the 7 days, you in the midst of fornication. That's fornication. That's something. Hey, that's something. Hey, I ain't see that. And the water, when you deal with her, not. Yeah. Right. Yeah. We actually deal with it. We the people who deal with these things, right? So we'll look at it and be like, that'll never be me. But guess what? Those laws were directed to us. Right? Yeah. It was specifically for us. So bestiality, that's us. Somebody. Homosexuality, that's us. Yo, remember, when your wife is doing her menstrual, he went over, when you deal with her, not after the 7 days, you in the midst of fornication. That's fornication. That's something. Hey, that's something. Hey, I ain't see that. And the water stay rising. Water rising. The water stay rising.
So, yep, we can hear. Okay, the water. So pretty much is madness, And like I said, the Elder Apostle Tahar, he's gonna deal with it. He's gonna, he's going putting some, doing the recording, and then he's going to hit the premiere once he finishes. So I'm going to let him, go into it. But pretty much it's not, because fornication pretty much is adultery. All right. Because they teach in the churches that fornication is premarital sex, which that's not premarital sex. Once a man has sex with a woman, that's marriage. Now you had ceremonies. You had engagements, you had pacts that the fathers would make, to, give their daughter to a particular man, or a particular man may come to a particular father and say, look, my son, so-and-so and such and such, I want to, have him marry your daughter, can we make this happen? And the father would agree, and then they would set a date, and they would have, they would have a ceremony, and during the ceremony you would have the feast, and then that night they would take them to the, marriage chambers, and, they would consummate the marriage. But the bottom line is having sex with a woman, that's marriage. And really, a woman, the first time she has sex with a man, that's pretty much her husband for life. And the only way she can be free from that husband is if that man is dead. That's the only way she can be freed up from him. You know, so fornication is adultery, not no premarital sex. And when a man has sex with his woman, if he doesn't wait the full 7 days, that is not fornication. That is not adultery. That is some fucking madness. And, you know, these are the guys that pretty much constantly talk about keep the laws, teach the laws, you know, breathe the laws, preach the laws, but they have no clue on it. And then the one dude, simple as he want to be, said, I didn't see that. And the other guy, yeah, the water rises. Yeah, the water of bullshit. That sewer water is rising. Sewer water rises too, you know. But like I said, I'm gonna let the elder pastor deal with it, because when you have sex with your woman, when she's on her menstrual, you're unclean until the evening. There's more to it. You just separate it from the people, you know. But it is not adultery. It is not fornication. Which adultery is fornication and adultery is the same thing, whether it's physical or spiritual. Physical adultery or fornication is when a man lays down with a married woman's with a woman that's married to another man. Spiritual fornication or adultery is when, you know, an Israelite man or woman bows down or goes and deals with the idols or religions or customs of another nation. All right, so I want to get into this because I've been, putting together a few notes and a few things I was going over. And this is the title that came to me, dealing with, and what will you do in the visitation, in the day of visitation? Because this is what's coming, the day of visitation. And it made me think about a particular precept in the book of Jeremiah and a particular word in there that kind of set the tone for the lesson. And what we're seeing right now on the world stage is prophecies playing out, all types of prophecies, but the main ones that are popping out the most right now is the MOTB, which is the micro C-HIP, and World War III, which is ramping up, which is the war to end all wars. All right. And while the drums of war of the prophecies are speaking loud and clear, all these anti-Christians, unchristians could do is come up against the Israelites. You don't hear them so-called apologists going into prophecy because they don't know prophecy. What you do hear them doing is coming against the Israelites. That is their major claim to fame. All right. And that's the only way they can get people to listen to them. When you need to ride on somebody's coattail to promote your brand, that means that your brand sucks. Just to put it into layman's terms. You got to ride off of the back of somebody else in order to get your content any type of view. Woo! So let's get into it. All right. So you see the drums of war, which is the prophecies playing out. You see how Putin shot those. Those are actually like ICBMs, but without the warheads. And they show you how accurate and how fast them things move. And there was nothing that they could do to stop that. Now, they said that they stopped one of them, which I don't know how true that is, but they just hit boom, 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 precise, quick and precise. That was that lightning war speed, lightning war tactic, like what is that called? Blitzkrieg. Blitzkrieg. All right. So let's get into this topic. Let's go to the book of 2 Ezra, chapter 9 and 1 to set the tone for the lesson. And like I said, I got a couple of precepts, a couple of words we're going to go get into. And, this me knowing about this particular word in the book of Jeremiah was thanks to the brother, the English chap, from Merrill, England, the brother Yashalom, the priest Yashalom, that spoke to me about a particular word in Jeremiah 50, and then I went and looked up the other word that was in it. And it just started coming together. So 2 Ezra chapter 9, verse 1, he says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. What does that mean? Does that mean go to Home Depot and get you a measuring stick, or one of those damn, I haven't done that. Well, we did something out here not too long ago, but I can't. A measuring tape. A measuring tape. A measuring tape. You just say go get a measuring tape at Home Depot and try to figure out and measure out what this is talking about. Measure time. How do you measure time with a measuring stick or with a measuring tape? Now it's talking about looking at the prophecies to know where it is that the world stands, as far as the end. And at the end, the scriptures say that at the end it shall speak and not lie. So we're at the point now where it's speaking loud and clear. And the closer we get to the end, the louder and louder it's speaking. So it says, he answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself, and when thou seest part of the signs past, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world that he made. Because remember, when the world was created back during the creation, there came a point where man became so wicked that the Lord destroyed the earth by way of flood. But before he did that, he set up his prophet Noah to warn the people of what was coming, the impending danger that was coming. So we're at the same stages now. And the Lord even said, just like in the days of Noah, like in the days of Lot, remember Lot's wife, gave us, clues of what to look for. And they're speaking loud and clear right now. And so it's the time of the Lord's visitation upon the earth. Now, when we go to that scripture in the book of Isaiah, chapter 10, the Lord ain't coming to visit to bring destruction for no reason. When you go back once again to Genesis, the 6th chapter, he said he saw that the wickedness of man was great upon the earth. So that was setting the stage for that destruction back then. So Isaiah 10 and 1, it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees. What is a decree? A decree is a law. You have a government. A government passes you have a government, you have a senators, you have a legislative body. A legislative body are those that pass laws, which are first bills, then they become laws. Then when they become a law, they're inserted into the books and used, for, governing that particular system. That's why the scriptures say, it says, as the king of a people is, so are the people. So if the king is wicked, the people are going to be wicked. So it says, woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees, which is laws that are not fair, laws that benefit the ones making it, but do not benefit the ones that are being governed by it. And that right grievousness which they have prescribed. And you see that it's grievous, the way that the legislation that's passed is very grievous. It's very hard to deal with, because it's all based upon what? It's all based upon taxation. And that taxation hits who the most? The poor, the working class. And when you look up the word grievousness, it's the same word for the word wicked in the book of Job, which I did not know that at all. I mean, maybe I looked it up before, but I don't remember. It's the same word for the word wicked in Job, the 20th chapter. And the word aimal means toil, trouble, labor, trouble, mischief, toil, labor. See? So it's laborious, because the reason why they're setting up these legislations, especially nowadays, even when they first started it off, but especially nowadays, is to benefit the corporations, the large corporations, not the small corporations. And we're coming to find out now, I'm not going to speak too much on it, but you're coming to find out now that all that money that was funneled or sent to Ukraine, right, was pretty much sent there and funneled back to the corporations of America that are going to be set up to build that place back up. These devils are very crafty in how they operate. All right. And it's all going, you have the major corporations, right? I forget all the names of them. There was they mentioned like three. I can't remember the names of them that are set up in there to build back up Ukraine after it's destroyed, but they all are owned by BlackRock. So I'm gonna leave it at that. All right. So it's weariness, trouble, vexation. All right. So the working class are being troubled by this. So these laws that are supposed to help the people, because that's the reason why you pass laws to keep law and order, are pretty much vexing the people. That's why it says at a point in 2nd Ezra 15 that they're not going to give heed. Matter of fact, let's get that real quick. 2nd Ezra 15, and I'll start at 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. Why? Because it's going to be a worldwide thing. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. So the sword and destruction is near. And as each day goes by and as the prophecies speak louder and louder, the day of destruction is coming closer and closer, the day of visitation. And one people shall stand up and fight against another. There you got your class wars, you got your race wars, It says, and swords in their hands. Why? Because everyone is arming up for what's coming. Others are just going about their everyday life, not even worried about, not even thinking about what's happening. But others that have their heads screwed on right, are preparing for this disaster, this downfall, the downfall of society, the collapse of society. They waiting for that anarchy to pop off. All right. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands, for there shall be sedition among men. Why? Because they're going to fight against each other, but ultimately they're going to fight against the government. It says, and invading one another. Yep, because they're going to cross the line in that day. They're going to go into their neighbors' homes and do what they got to do because of the hardships and the grievousness and the desperate mindset that they're going to be in. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. Or in other words, the law and order is going to be broken apart. And that's opportune time to set up what's called martial law, which is where the government ceases and desists from their everyday functions, and the military comes in and acts as the government. Okay? And the course of their actions shall stand in their power, because they're not going to be, they're not going to any longer be confined to the laws. It's going to be total anarchy. All right. So going back to Isaiah chapter 10 and verse 2 now, to turn aside the needy from judgment. And the needy from judgment are what? The laborers. The reason why people are working is because they need the money to pay bills, buy food. You have people back in the days that would have retired in their 60s. Now they're in their 70s and 80s and still working because they can't afford to live off of the little bit that they get from Social Security or from their pension. Because all of that money is being funneled away from the people and used for the debts of America, and to take away the right from the poor of my people. And Jake is catching hell, that widows may be their prey, and that they may rob the fatherless. And that's what you're doing when you set up a system that is unjust and that taxes people to the till they pretty much can't deal with it no more, they're going to flip out. And what that does, it robs them of the little bit of savings that they have, as a hedge. It says, and what will you do in the day of visitation? So what are you devils going to do in the day of visitation? And in the matter of fact, before we read the rest, let's look up the word visitation. And just keep this word in mind, because it's going to reflect on another word in Jeremiah that we're going to get. The word there is pakwada, which means oversight, care, custody, mustering, visitation, store. Visitation, punishment. So the visitation, in other words, is what? Punishment. Oversight, charge. So they're going to be charged. Office, overseer, class of officers, mustering, store. So pretty much, so what are you going to do when the Lord visits you to bring forth your punishment? So let's go back. Remember, pakwada. So it says, and what will you do in the day of visitation? And in the desolation, which shall come from far. From far where? From Russia, China, India, from the allies of America and so-called Europe, and whatever other nation, Iran. Now the scriptures don't speak about, they speak about mainly Russia bringing this devastation, but it also speaks about, a group of nations from the north that are going to bring forth this devastation, this destruction, this desolation from far. But it makes sense since China and Iran and some of these other, India, Pakistan, that are the ones that are in league with Russia, makes sense that if they have nuclear arsenals, they will shoot their nuclear arsenals on Babylon the Great. It says, to whom will you flee for help? And where will you leave your glory? That's dealing with you Edomites, America, you Israelites that are here, that are leaning on Esau for help. It applies to all of you. All right, so we looked up that word in the third verse for visitation, which is pakwada. Now, let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Jeremiah to show you the scripture that I was speaking on. We're going to start Jeremiah chapter 50. We're going to start at 21. All right. And this whole chapter this is a chapter that is heavy. And this chapter also proves in what's written in here and the judgment that's coming for Babylon, that this was not dealing with ancient Babylon. Ancient Babylon was a hostile takeover, and that is a devastating blow. Yep, North Korea, that's right, another one. Yep, that hostile takeover is a devastating blow to these devils that try to say that Jeremiah 50 and 51 was speaking about ancient Babylon or the Neo-Babylonian Empire, which is not. So Jeremiah 50 and 21, straight to the point, go up against the land of Marathaim. Now, this was the word that the priest Yashalom, mentioned, and told me about, right? And I believe he did a lesson on it, if I'm not mistaken. But we're going to get to it. But the word I'm speaking about is the word pikad, okay? Marathaim, because I want to look that word up too. So Marathaim is Mar Thayam, which the word Mar or Marah is bitterness, all right? Bitterness, right there, Mar, bitter or bitterness. But it also, Marathaim represents double rebellion. The double rebellion of America, because they're doubling down, is going to bring total devastation and total bitterness to this place. And it's going to go out very bitter. That wormwood, which is, the radiation poison from those missiles is going to tear this place up, but at the same time, clean it up. All right? Because remember, when farmers, Gad used to do that. Like there was certain times where they would burn certain type of fields, they would burn them down. and then that would cause the ground to become fertile again, or you would leave the ground, to rest for a whole year, and then that would also allow the soil to replenish its nutrients. You see, but these devils don't do that. Apostle Gabar always goes into that the land Sabbaths. So going back to Jeremiah chapter 50, let's read this whole thing, and then we're going to go to the word Pekah. Go up against the land of Merathaim, which is another name. Oh, that's another name for Babylon, or Babylon the Great. When you go down here, it says Merathaim, double rebellion, another name for Babylon. It's another name, or this descriptive name for Babylon. All right, now let's go back. Let's read the verse again, and then let's go into the word Pekah. Go up against the land of Merathaim, even against it, and against the inhabitants of Pekah. Waste and utterly destroy after them, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem El Shai, and do according to all that I have commanded, because it's already in the books. It's already written. It's already prophecy. So when we look this word up, Pekah, right, it goes back to the word what? Pakwawad, which was a word that we saw. I believe it was the same exact word that we saw in Isaiah 10, or it could have been a slight variation, but let me just make sure. Visitation. There it said Pekah, here it said visitation. This one is Pakwada, which is a slight difference, but it represents the same thing. Right? The word, the root word goes back to the word Pakwad, which means visit, punish, appoint. All right? To visit. So Pakwawad goes back to Pakwad. See, the number, visit, punish. Pekah, visitation. It says the people in the Babylonian army and a tribe in southeastern Babylonia bordering Elam. Right here, it says punishment, which is visitation. Another word for visitation is punishment, vengeance, right? It says an allegorical name of Babylon. So it's an allegorical name of Babylon, just like Merathaim is another name for Babylon. All right. Like America, you have land of the free and home of the brave, right? That's like a epithet for America, another name for America. All right, so let's go back. So let's read that again, and then we're going to read down. We're going to read down some more. We're going to read that verse again and then continue to read down. It says, go up against the land of Merathaim, Babylon the Great, even against it and against the inhabitants of Pekah, Babylon the Great, waste and utterly destroy. The ancient Babylon or Neo-Babylonian Empire was not utterly destroyed. After them, saith Yahweh Bashem El Shai, and do according to all that I have commanded thee. A sound of battle is in the land, right? Because people are hearing about what's going on over there in Russia and the things that's going on and how they're stirring up the beer. You have a lot of these alternative medias that are speaking up and bringing out information on this whole situation and how it's a bad move on Biden's part to stir up this whole thing. Because he even said, Elder Pastor R brought it out before, and I believe he even played the clip where they asked him if he was going to strike someplace. I don't know if it was Iran, if he was going to go to war with Iran. He said no, because that's World War III. So this devil, from back then to now, in the matter of 4 years, he's pretty much the one that's stirring up this destruction. He might just be Kaiser Wilhelm II back in the reincarnation, for those of you that can receive it. It says the sound of battle is in the land, because Kaiser Wilhelm II was instrumental in bringing or starting World War I. That was one of the main components. A sound of battle is in the land and of great destruction. See, of great destruction. How is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? Yeah, because you've been hammering everybody. You've been pounding away at all these nations. You've been imposing your will upon them. You've been puffing at them. You know, you've been so nasty with it that even your own kind from over the pond can't stand your ass. And that's prophecy, whose look was more stout than his fellows. So the word there is patayash, forge, hammer, hammer. So their military is pounding. See, the hammer, an example, devastator of the whole earth. Who has that power? America. And America joined with Canada and NATO. That's a force to be reckoned with. That's why you had to have Russia, because you had to have Russia and China, India, Pakistan, Iran, these different nations joining together, South Africa joining together to be able to create a military powerful enough to resist this American empire. All right. And to this day, these devils have that power militarily, even though it's waning, but they're still a force to be reckoned with. How is the hem of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And you're going to become a desolation among the nations. No, there will be no inhabitants here. When you read all throughout Jeremiah 50 and 51, it tells you that once this place goes down, there will be no more inhabitants. There will be nothing here. When the smoke clears, we don't know how long it's going to take. It could take 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, 500 years. We don't know how long it's going to be before this place burns out on its own, because you're not going to be able to put it out. That's what it means by the fire that cannot be quenched. And the worm that dieth not. It's going to burn for a long time. I have laid a snare for thee, a trap, and thou art also taken. So the Lord gave you the technology of these missiles to pretty much set you up. And you fell hook, line, and sinker for it. That's what the Lord said. Asaph said, that the Lord, that pretty much you are set up and the Lord set you up in slippery places. You see? So you would never really fully be stable. You will always be faulty, and you will never, and the people that are running you, them small hats, they are an unsatiable, greedy, can never have enough type of devils. So the Lord set up the right devils in place and in power to push your agenda and to push that greed to the limit, because these corporations are mostly owned by these devils. O Babylon, and thou was, let me read that again. I have laid a snare for thee, and thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware. See, that's why it says you didn't consider your latter end. Thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Al Shai. You opposed the Most High. You had the nerve to stand and try to withstand the Lord, to try to come against him, try to fight against the Lord. And the word there for striven is garah. Garah, which is to cause strife, stir up, contend. See, so you're contending with the Lord. You are the opposer. You oppose and exalt yourself above all that is called the Most High. I will be like the Most High. That's what you said. And the Lord's going to bring you down. You had this godlike power because of the military might that the Lord gave you in your weaponry, that you really believed that you were the Most High. But when you get taken out and by these nations, they're going to be like, are you going to say then that you are a God, that you are the Most High? No, you're going to fall, and you're going to falter, and you're going to be crushed. Metal, strive, be stirred up. So you're trying to stir up yourself against the Most High. And you know, it takes a pompous devil and a small head at that, and a you know a broke back, you know, to say that we could piss the Most High off as much as we want because we have the technology to create weather, so we don't need him anymore. That broke back devil, you know, fucking ruptured, you know, fucking ruptured gasket ass devil. Most High gonna make easy work of you fucking devils, man. It says, I have laid a snare for thee, thou art also taken, O Babylon, and thou was not aware, thou art found and also caught, because thou hast striven against the Lord. The Lord hath opened his armory. What is the Lord's armory? These missiles. It says, and hath brought forth the weapons of his indignation. So you, all that, look, when you go back and you research and, you know, you watch these documentaries on Oppenheimer and von Braun and Heisenberg and all these devils that helped to create this technology, they labored intensely, breaking brain cells, breaking night, you know, losing sleep. You know, I mean, night after night after night, you know, of just constant research and trying this and trying that, just to create something that the Lord gave him to destroy them. That's the weapons of the Most High's indignation. And you thought that that was your saving grace, but that was really your destruction. It says, for this is the work of the Lord Yahweh B'Shem Shai of hosts in the land of the Chaldeans, which is pretty much, the Chaldeans were like the wisest of the Babylonian Empire. All right, so that would represent like your top wise men of this society, America, Babylon the Great. Come against her from the utmost border. It says, opened her storehouses, cast her up as heaps, and destroy her utterly. Let nothing of her be left. Nothing. So let's go from there. Let's go to the book of Isaiah 13 and verse 9. It says, behold, the day of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate, and he shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. So you Israelites that's in league with these devils, that's your future, to be totally baked in this, you know, sea of fire, this wall of fire is going to come and destroy everything in its path all throughout America, from east coast to west coast and from north to south. Totally wiped out. All right, now let's go from there to the book of Joel, chapter 2, to show you about the weapons of the Lord's indignation. And you can read this whole chapter, especially like the first, I believe it's the first 14, about the first 14, 13 verses, I think. But we're going to go straight to the point. Joel 2 and 3. A fire devoureth before them. Before who? The weapons of the Lord's indignation. And behind them a flame burneth. That's why it says, let's go real quick to Malachi 4 and 1. It says, for behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven. What day is that speaking about? That's speaking about the day of the Lord, this devastation, this destruction. Those missiles, man, are going to do a number on this place. And all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly, including that devil, Noah, whatever his name is, Harari, if the Lord don't take him out before then, but I believe the Lord is going to leave him there so he can feel that fire, shall be what? Stubble. So what's going to cause the stubble? That nuclear fire. The lasers from the chariots too, but the main Well, because that's another part of the Most High's army. That's another one of his militaries. But the military that he's using for his devastation are both. But those missiles, boy, and the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave neither root nor branch, because this whole place is going up in smoke. So Joel 2 and 3, a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them. It's going to be greenery, trees, flowers. And behind them, after the missiles drop, their fire drops, behind it is a desolate wilderness. Yea, and nothing shall escape them. I don't give a damn if you go into your bunkers in America. You're going to go down from what they're saying. You have, at the Pentagon, you have 75 floors down, from what they say. It might be more, so I don't know, but that's what they've said. You have other places that you have underground bunkers. You have, in America, mountain retreats. You have deep deep underground military bases, which is called DUMBs. No matter what you do, no matter where you go in America, you toast your history, because the Lord's going to make sure of that. Them missiles, when the Lord says he's going to do something, he's going to do it. He's very thorough. He's not slack concerning his promises. So let's go back to Jeremiah chapter 50, right? And now verse 27. Slay all her bullocks. Let them go down to the slaughter. This is a representation of your militaries, because you're going to have military still here in America. You're going to have a lot of them over there in what they call the Middle East, so-called. But you're going to have some here taking care of the home front, just like you're going to have 5/6, which is the majority of the Russian army that's going to be down in the Levant area and all those regions down there. But 1/6 of their army is going to stay behind. It says, woe unto them, for their day is come, the time of their visitation. This is one of the first precepts that I grabbed up. And then when you look up this word visitation, right? Pakwada, once again, to visit, or to what? To bring vengeance or punishment. Now, there's another word in here I want to show you. The word, is it this one? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Let's continue on. It says, the voice of them that flee and escape out of the land of Babylon, to declare in Zion the vengeance of the Lord our power, the vengeance of his temple. Right. So the ones that are going to escape are who? The elect. And that's why the prophets are giving warning of these things that are coming, so that they can get themselves together. This is the main point right here. Another one of the main points. In the 29th verse. Call together the archers against Babylon. What are these archers? These archers are speaking about the missiles. Now check this out. When you look up the word archers, you have the word Rab, right? It just says archer. There's a lot here. But then you have here, it says multus, which is what? Which goes back to the word many. Because that's also what the word Rab means, exalted or many. Actually, many, Rab. Rabium! It goes back to the root word rabab, which is to shoot. Those are the missiles, right? To shoot. Then it says here, rather identical with H721231, through the idea of what? Projection. To shoot an arrow. Shoot. It's not talking about your regular arrows. Let's look up this word projection. Projection. Let's look up the word projection definition. An estimate or forecast that's dealing with when you're dealing with the weather and stuff, or a prophecy, The presentation of an image on a surface, yeah, when you have the projector, movie projector. The presentation or promotion of someone or something, that's a different one. A thing that extends outward from something else, right, to project out. Let's try project. And if we don't, if it don't come up this way, then I'll just go to the etymon. Let's try the etymon online. In alchemy, transhumanism by casting out. See right here. Projection pro is before inject. It's like when you eject, like, no, those of you brothers that remember, the old, radios with the cassettes, and you would hit the eject button and it would pop up. Or if you put in a CD and then you can hit the eject button and it'll spit the CD out. It says a throwing forward are those missiles projecting from one place to the other, which also goes back to another root word, rabab again, which is a primitive root, which means to be or become many. Remember we read earlier, multus, to be or become many. Rabium, rab and rabium is many also. Be or become much, be or become great. Why? Because the estimation of these missiles are going to be great. Revelation 9 and 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen, which are what? The missiles, nuclear missiles, were 200,000. When you put that together, that's 200 million. And I heard the number of them. So he couldn't count them. There were too many. But he heard the number of them. And there was 200,000, which is 200 million. Now, they don't have 200 million missiles, but they have warheads, nuclear warheads. And Putin just showed you that he just shot, 5 ICBMs without the warheads, and they were very precise in where they hit. So you have multiple warheads per missile. You see? So going back, to become, to be or become many, to be or become great, and their production of these things is ongoing. They just got that thing on speed, just like America got the printers for the dollars in rotation 24/7. Well, Russia and these other nations got their military pumping out those weapons at a phenomenal rate. All right, so let's read this again. This is the 29th verse. It says, "Call together the archers against Babylon." It says, and which are everyone that has missiles, and all ye that bend the bow, that's what the silos, camp against it round about, because they're going to tear this place apart. Let none thereof escape. See, don't let nothing escape. Recompense her according to her work, according to all that she hath done, do unto her, for she hath been proud against the Lord, against the Holy One of Israel. Now, let's go from there to Jeremiah chapter 50 and verse 14, just straight to the point. It says, "Put yourselves in array against Babylon," America, Babylon the Great, "round about, all ye that what? Bend the bow. Shoot at her. Spare no arrows," because even your own allies are going to tear your ass limb from limb. Revelation 17 and verse 16. And the 10 horns, which are the EU. You're also going to have NATO, which is a part of it. But the EU, 10 horns, which thou sawest upon the beast, which is NATO, these shall hate the whore. They already hate this hoe, and shall make her desolate and naked. How are they going to make her desolate and naked? By shooting these missiles against her. And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. Because this place is going to go out in a great conflagration, the conflagration that has never been ever since. And that conflagration simply means with fire. With flagration, fire. With fire. They're going to burn it with fire. So spare no arrows. For she has sinned against Yahweh Bashem El Shai. And it keeps on going back to sin. The sins have reached unto heaven. The Lord is tired of this hoe. Now let's go from there to Habakkuk. Matter of fact, let me leave. It's Habakkuk chapter 3. So you're seeing all the effects of everything happen. IUIC says that what they want to say. Yep, they want it. They just do whatever the hell they want to do. Habakkuk chapter 3 and verse 9. Now check this out. It says, the bow was made quite naked. What is the bow? The bow is the nuclear silos. When you look at a nuclear silo, what do you have in there? You have the missile. The missile is an arrow. The silo is the bow. Because you can have an arrow, you can stab people with it, maybe throw it, but it's not as effective as it would be as if you had the bow to be able to shoot it, to have more of an accurate, or more of a precision for a strike, and it'll go further. So it says the bow was made quite naked according to the oaths of the tribes, even thy word, Selah. Thou didst cleave the earth with rivers. The mountains saw thee, and they tremble, which is what? This is dealing with all of the governments of the world. Because it says that the powers of heaven shall be shaken. That's dealing with all the powers of this world. It says the overflowing of water passed by. The deep uttered his voice and lifted up his hand on high. The sun and moon stood still in their habitation. See? Why? Because when those missiles are shot and that fire starts to go up and that smoke and that soot, you're not going to be able to see the sun, the moon, the stars on this side. So that's what it means, is that they stood still. Not that they actually are not moving and still doing what they're supposed to do, because that's what they were created to do, to give lights upon the earth for signs, seasons, days, and years. And they're going to be doing that, but here you're not going to be able to see them. At the light of thine arrows, they went. See, at the light of thine arrows, they went. Arrows don't have lights. That's the fire from the propulsion, which is, those rockets, rocket boosters. And at the shining of the glittering spear. See, the glittering spear, shining glittering spear is a representation of, the nuclear missiles that are going to be shot. All right. It says, thou didst march through the land in indignation. Why? Because the Lord's indignation is what? His righteous anger. And these are the weapons of his indignation, which he's going to use to settle the score once and for all, to bring forth the judgment. Thou didst thresh the heathen in anger, because his beef is with the heathen, beginning with Esau, and with their militaries. Why? Because that is your power. It says, thou wentest forth for the salvation of thy people, because you're going to have an elect of the nation of Israel that will be saved, even for the salvation with thine anointed, which are who? The Israelites, but it's the elect of the nation of Israel. Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked. So who is the major power on the planet today? The Edomites, the so-called white man. The scriptures identify them, the Edomites, with the wicked. They are the head. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. The other nations are not ruling. The ones that are ruling are the Edomites. and specifically the Edomites from America, and their allies. So it says, "Thou woundest the head of the out of the house of the wicked by discovering the foundation into the neck." Selah, right? Because the Lord is revealing these devils. He's showing how wicked they are. He's showing the reason why he's going to bring judgment upon this place. We always say that we're in the sentencing stage of this devil. The first part was revelation, through discovery. Then afterwards, the sentencing. And after you sentence someone, then they go out and they serve out their sentence, which the serving out of the sentence, which is the judgment, that's what the Lord is going to bring to destroy this place. Now, let's go from there to Isaiah 63. Isaiah chapter 63. I'm going to read a couple of verses here. And 1, because we read here in Habakkuk 3 and 13, it says, "Thou woundest the head out of the house of the wicked." Esau is the head. They're the top. And that's why when Yahushua comes back, those are going to be the people that he's going to, deal with first. They're going to be the beginning of him taking this world down. Esau is the end of the world. Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Isaiah 63 and 1, "Who is this that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra?" Right. Edom here in Basra is a representation of America. All right. Well, no, that's talking about the land, brother. Well, when you go to Isaiah 34, it speaks about Idumea or Edom. It says, "In the people against whom the Lord hath indignation." I'm sorry. Yeah. No, it says, "In the people of my curse to judgment." All right. It says, "With dyed garments from Basra, this that is glorious in his apparel," meaning that he's going to be responsible or credited with the destruction of this place. Not that he's going to actually get blood sprinkled on it, because he's an angelic being. He's in a chariot. So, that ain't going to happen. But he's responsible for taking this devil down. In righteousness, he does judge and make war. Traveling in the greatness of the strength, because he ain't coming like he did 2,000 years ago in a weak body of a man. He's coming back in his angelic, glorious body. "I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save," which is talking about Yahushua. "Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden the winepress alone, and of the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in mine anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain all my raiment," meaning he will be credited with taking all these nations down. That's why one of his titles is what? King of Kings and Lord of Lords. It says, "For the day of vengeance is in my heart." That's all he's waiting for, to get this devil and also to bring salvation to the elect. Because this is two parts. Watch. "For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come." So he's coming for two purposes and two purposes alone, baby. He's coming to destroy this devil and to redeem the elect of the nation of Israel. And that we're waiting for this devil to fall. Because right now, as we speak, these devils are still in power. Even though judgment is going out, prophecies are being brought out, they still got a strong foothold in the earth. Isaiah 26:18. "We have been with child, we have been in pain." So we're ready to be delivered. We've gone through the trial, tribulations, but you still got more to come, which is the time of Jacob's trouble. "We have, as it were, brought forth wind." Yeah, so we've been waiting. Jeremiah said it best, the harvest has come, the summer is ended, and we are not saved. "We have not wrought any deliverance in the earth," because the whole world has, they have, their militaries, they have their peoples, they have their lands. We ain't got shit. So we waiting for our piece of the pie. "Neither have the inhabitants of the world fallen." See, so who are the inhabitants of the world? Beginning with Esau. They are the powers, so they haven't fallen yet. So back in Isaiah 63 and 4, for the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. And I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered that there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm, which is Yahushai. And this, you know what this goes with? This goes with Deuteronomy 28:68. No man shall buy thee, no man shall save thee. That's why it says here, and I looked, and there was none to help, and I wondered, and there was none to uphold. Therefore mine own arm, which is Yahushai, brought salvation unto me, and my fury it upheld me. Because Yahushai is the only one that can deliver us from this condition. Not your guns, not a military, not your economic bases, or trying to build businesses so you can gain generational wealth. None of that. And I will tread down the people in mine anger, because they're going to be the grapes that the Lord is going to stomp. Revelation 14. And make them drunk in my fury. And I will drown their strength to the earth. You know what this means? And make them drunk in my fury. When someone's drunk, they have no control of their motor skills. So when the Lord starts to bring the devastation, people are not going to have control of their emotions. They're not going to have control of their motor skills. They're just going to bow down to the slaughter. And I will bring down their strength to the earth, because the power that Esau possesses, which was given to him by Yahweh, by Shem Shai, can nobody take it but the Most High. That's why it says that no man was able to make war against the beast, which comprises of America, Canada, EU, NATO. That's a force to be reckoned with. A mighty power. And just like the Lord raised up Pharaoh and made him great and made his army great and he brought him down, same thing he's going to do today with America. And why did he bring Pharaoh down back then? To exalt his name. Why is he bringing down America today? To exalt his name. And that's why it's important to exalt the names of Yahweh Bashem El Shai. So when it happens, he can get the credit for it. And the world will bow down to those names once again, Yahweh and Yahweh Shai. So let's go from there to Revelation 18. Got a couple more precepts. Revelation 18 and 21, straight to the point. It says, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great millstone and cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. That's America. This is not talking about the Vatican. This is not talking about Jerusalem. This is talking about America, Babylon the Great. Let's look up this word violence. And, you know, if you ask us, it can't come fast enough. But it's going to come in the time when the Lord wants it to come. The word there is hormema. It says an attack. Ooh, an attack. Because that's how this place is going to go out. Remember the scripture says, spare no missiles, spare no arrows. An example, abstractly, precipitancy, violence. See what this word means. Rashness or suddenness of action. Damn. And that goes with Isaiah 47. You know, pretty much on a sudden, this place is going to be turned into ashes and powder. You got to remember, what type of devastating power can eliminate mountains and hills and just buildings? You know how many buildings and how much, you know, barbed wire and not barbed wire. I forget what they're called. You know, when you're working in concrete, rebar. You know how much rebar and metals are all up in these buildings. You know, and man, and what power is going to be to just sweep all of that, and this land that has hills and, you know, and peaks and all of that is going to just be a flat land from one end to the other. It says a rush impulse, that which is impelled or hurried away by impulse. Right, it's going to be quick. So this destruction, hormei ma, is a violence, but it's going to be a violence that's going to be swift judgment. That's why it says in 1 hour, such great riches is brought to naught. All right. So let's go to Jeremiah 51. Let's read a couple more verses here and then we'll close it out. Isaiah. Oh, no, sorry. That's not the one. Is it Isaiah 51? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, I wanted to save that, but that's all right. Jeremiah 51 and 25. It says, behold, I am against the old destroying mountain. Right, you destroyed the Lord's heritage. You destroyed the earth. You destroyed the people. You destroyed the morals. You got everything backwards. Save Yahweh Bashem El Shai, which destroys all the earth. You managed within the last, 100 years or so to bring the earth to the brink of destruction. It says, and I will stretch out mine hand upon thee and roll thee down from the rocks, meaning he's going to kick you out of that head position and will make thee what? A burnt mountain. What's going to cause that burnt mountain? The nuclear missiles and the lasers from the chariots. And that the weapons of the Lord's indignation, which are those missiles, is going to be used for this judgment, to bring this judgment upon this whole. The word for burnt is the word sharapah. Sharapah, where you get the word seraphim, burning. And the fiery flying serpent is those missiles. Or are those missiles. So it said, behold, I am against thee. What the freak? Let's go back up. Satan jumping on everything. And they shall not take of thee, behold, I am against thee, O destroying mountain, saith the Lord, which destroyeth all the earth. And I will stretch out my hand upon thee, and roll thee down from the rocks, and will make thee a burnt mountain. And they shall not take of thee a stone for a corner, nor a stone for foundations, but thou shalt be desolate forever, saith Yahweh Bashem El Shai. So basically, there's not going to be anything left here for you to start to rebuild. Everything's going to be wiped out. The elements shall melt with fervent heat. Set ye up a standard in the land, blow the trumpet among the nations, prepare the nations against her, call together against her the kingdoms of Ararat, which is Armenia, Mini, which is a land in the vicinity of Ararat. You know, in some maps they show that it's in Azerbaijan, which is next to Armenia. This is Mana right here. This is Mount Ararat. This is right here. This is Armenia. This one here shows you a little bit better. This is Armenia, right? That's Ararat. And then you have Azerbaijan here. But some sources are saying that Mini is in this area, you know. So something's going to be going on with this right here, where they're going to get involved. Then you have Ashkenaz, you know, which are the Germans. So you just in a world of hurt. You in a world of trouble all the way around, no matter how you slice it. So it says, the kingdom of Ararat, Mini, and Ashkenaz, appoint a captain against her, cause the horses to come up as the rough caterpillars. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, which are who? The Russians, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the land shall tremble in sorrow, for every purpose of Yahweh Bashem El Shai shall be performed against Babylon, Babylon the Great, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without inhabitant. To this very day, you go to Babylon, you know, Iraq, you know, you go to those areas and there's still people there. You still have thriving civilizations in those regions. All right. So this was not talking about ancient Babylon. All right. The mighty men of Babylon have forborne to fight. They have remained in their holds. Their might has failed. They became as women. They have burned her dwelling places. Her bars are broken, because everything is going to be taken out. And it's going to be nothing that you could do. You know, so it says, and what will you do in the day of visitation? All right. So with that, you know, I pray that you brothers and a few sisters have been edified. Keep your eyes on the prophecies because it's coming, you know. Shalom.